What if I told you that the Vikings weren't that big of a deal? Allow me to explain. A couple of years ago, we had Dr. Matthew Panesi on the Vikingology podcast. We assumed that he would have lots to say about the Vikings since his expertise is 9th century monasticism. The victims of the Vikings. His first words to us gave us pause, however, when he said, "I have spent an entire career avoiding the Vikings." Well, how could this be true? Popular culture thinks of the Vikings as these larger-than-life characters that wrought tremendous damage on the Western world. But it turns out the number of monasteries they attacked was a tiny fraction of the total volume of monasteries around at the time. So small, in fact, that the Viking raids had literally no impact on monasticism. Whoa. So the Vikings, who we thought were this big deal historically, may not have been that big of a deal after all. I was reminded of my conversation with Dr. Matthew Panesi this week when I was reading The Vikings by Neil Price and Ben Raffield, in which they have this lovely illustration map of all the raids from 789 to 999 that are documented in the historical record. I counted up the dots and found 250 thereabouts, which span about 220 years, which means, get ready for this, there was an average of a little more than one raid per year during the core time of the Viking Age. So what does that mean? That means that Viking raids were actually very few and far between. There are fewer Viking raids recorded in the entire Viking Age, it appears, than there are school shootings in the United States every single year. That's insane to me. So were the Vikings really that big of a deal? Okay, there's research that shows that they had tremendous impact in certain areas, but did they have as much of an impact as we give them credit for in popular culture? I don't think so. I don't think they were that big of a deal.